Today, our topic is the Stoic perspective on finding your purpose. Life is a journey, and each of us is trying to find our way. We ask questions like, why am I here? Or what is my purpose? These questions are not new. People have been asking them for thousands of years. The Stoics, ancient philosophers from Greece and Rome, had a lot to say about finding purpose. They believed that life is not about chasing happiness or success in the way we often think. Instead, they taught that true purpose comes from living a life of virtue, understanding what we can control, and accepting what we cannot. Let's explore what this means and how it can help us find meaning in our lives. First, let's talk about what the Stoics meant by virtue. To them, virtue was not just about being good or moral. It was about living in harmony with nature and reason. They believed that every person has a role to play in the world, and fulfilling that role is our purpose. But how do we know what our role is? The Stoics would say that it starts with understanding ourselves. We must ask, what are my strengths? What are my values? What do I care about? These questions help us see what we are meant to do. For example, if you are good at helping others, maybe your purpose is to serve your community. If you are a thinker, maybe your purpose is to share your ideas with the world. The key is to use your unique abilities to contribute to something greater than yourself. But finding your purpose is not always easy. Life is full of challenges, and sometimes we feel lost. The Stoics understood this. They knew that life is unpredictable, and that we cannot control everything that happens to us. What we can control, however, is how we respond. This is one of the most important lessons of Stoicism. They call it the dichotomy of control. It means that some things are within our power, and some things are not. For example, we cannot control the weather, but we can control how we prepare for it. We cannot control what other people think of us, but we can control how we treat them. By focusing on what we can control, we free ourselves from worry and frustration. This is how we find peace and clarity, even in difficult times. Now, let's talk about acceptance. The Stoics believe that accepting reality is essential to finding purpose. This does not mean giving up or being passive. It means acknowledging what is true and working with it. For example, if you lose your job, you can either complain and feel sorry for yourself, or you can accept the situation and look for new opportunities. Acceptance allows us to move forward instead of being stuck in the past. It helps us see challenges as opportunities for growth. The Stoics called this Amor fati, which means love of fate. It is the idea that we should embrace everything that happens to us, good or bad, because it is part of our journey. When we accept our circumstances, we can focus on what truly matters, becoming the best version of ourselves. Another important Stoic idea is that purpose is not something we find outside of ourselves. It is not a job, a relationship, or a possession. These things can change or disappear, but our purpose remains. The Stoics believe that purpose comes from within. It is about how we live, not what we have. This is a powerful idea because it means that no matter what happens in life, we always have the ability to live with purpose. We can choose to be kind, courageous, and wise, even in the face of adversity. This is what it means to live a virtuous life. When we focus on our character and actions, we find a sense of meaning that cannot be taken away. Of course, living with purpose is not always easy. There will be times when we feel lost or unsure. The Stoics would say that this is normal. Life is full of ups and downs, and it is okay to struggle. What matters is how we handle those struggles. Do we give up, or do we keep going? The Stoics believe that every challenge is an opportunity to practice virtue. For example, when we face fear, we can practice courage. When we face injustice, we can practice fairness. When we face failure, we can practice resilience. These are the moments that define us. They show us who we are and what we are capable of. By embracing these challenges, we grow stronger and more confident in our purpose. Now let's think about how we can apply these ideas to our daily lives. The first step is to reflect on what matters most to us. What are our values? What kind of person do we want to be? These questions help us clarify our purpose. The next step is to focus on what we can control. Instead of worrying about things we cannot change, we should focus on our actions and attitudes. For example, if we are unhappy with our job, we can either complain or take steps to improve our situation. The choice is ours. The third step is to practice acceptance. Life will not always go our way, but we can choose to accept what happens and make the best of it. Finally, we should strive to live virtuously. This means being honest, kind, and courageous in everything we do. When we live this way, we find a deep sense of fulfillment and purpose. One of the most inspiring Stoic philosophers was Marcus Aurelius. He was a Roman emperor, but he was also a humble thinker who wrote about the challenges of life. In his book Meditations, he reminds us that we are all part of something bigger. He says, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." This means that our purpose is connected to the well-being of others. We are not here just for ourselves. We are here to contribute to the world in our own unique way. When we live with this in mind, we find a sense of belonging and meaning that goes beyond our individual lives. Another Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, was born a slave, but became one of the most respected teachers of his time. He taught that freedom comes from within. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This means that true freedom is not about having power or wealth. It is about having control over our thoughts and actions. When we master ourselves, we can live with purpose, no matter what our circumstances are. This is a powerful idea because it shows that we always have the power to choose how we live. No one can take that away from us. Finally, let's talk about the importance of perseverance. The Stoics believe that finding purpose is a lifelong journey. It is not something we achieve once and then forget about. It requires constant effort and reflection. There will be times when we feel discouraged or uncertain, but we must keep going. The Stoics called this persistent action. It means doing what is right, even when it is hard. It means staying committed to our values, even when we face obstacles. When we live this way, we build a life of meaning and integrity. In conclusion, the Stoic perspective on finding your purpose is about living a life of virtue, focusing on what you can control and accepting what you cannot. It is about understanding your unique role in the world and using your strengths to contribute to something greater. It is about embracing challenges as opportunities for growth and staying true to your values, no matter what happens. This is not always easy, but it is worth it. When we live with purpose, we find a sense of fulfillment and peace that cannot be taken away. So as you go through life, remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Reflect on your values, focus on your actions, and strive to live virtuously. This is how you will find your purpose and create a life of meaning and joy.